After its appearance in Jurassic Park 3, Spinosaurus has remained one of the most well-known dinosaurs in the world. It also held a reputation for being the largest carnivorous animal to ever walk the planet for many years. However, recently, the general consensus seems to believe that Spinosaurus was not the largest carnivorous dinosaur to ever live, that title rather being attained to other theropods such as Giganotosaurus and Tyrannosaurus rex. However, after diving deep into every single Spinosaurus specimen I could find, I found that coming to a conclusion like that is not as simple as you may think. Hi, I'm Petrified and I create weekly videos on paleontology and zoology. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Spinosaurus and the size estimates it's gone through the years and how large we could realistically say it is today. When Spinosaurus was first discovered and described by Ernst Stromer in 1915, based on a partial remain found in 1912, scientists initially thought it was a very large theropod dinosaur with an estimated length of around 15 meters and a mass of around 4 to 6 tons. Back then, of course, our knowledge of dinosaurs was extremely limited, and the resources we could use to estimate their size was even more so limited. Unfortunately, in 1944, the original Spinosaurus fossil remains were destroyed during World War II in an Allied bombing raid on Munich. Additionally, it was not until 6 decades later, in the late 1990s and early 2000s, that new Spinosaurus fossil remains began to surface again. The new partial skeletons and bones were discovered in the Kemkem beds of Morocco and other parts of North Africa, leading to the renewed study and much better understanding of Spinosaurus biology. It was at this time that many scientists estimated Spinosaurus to be between 15 and 18 meters long, with weight estimates ranging anywhere from 7 to even 20 tons. These size estimates are likely what made Spinosaurus such a well-known and popular dinosaur, as for once there was a dinosaur rivaling T-Rex in size. Over the next few years, people came to their senses and started to realize that 20 tons was just not feasible for a dinosaur of this size, and so they had a conservative estimate of 7 to 9 tons for many years. In 2014, scientists would make a discovery, however, that would change our understanding of Spinosaurus forever, this being the discovery of the Neotype specimen. The Neotype specimen, also known as this, was a partial subadult skeleton discovered in the Kemkem beds of Morocco in northern Africa. Based on our current understanding of Spinosaurus, this specimen was estimated to be approximately 9.4 to 10.4 meters long, with an estimated weight of around 4 metric tons. And while these numbers do seem low compared to what was previously known of Spinosaurus, it is worth noting that scientists are fairly certain that this is a subadult specimen and not an adult. One of the most well-known paleontologists for his work of Spinosaurus, Nizar Ibrahim, stated himself that he would estimate an adult Spinosaurus to sit at a weight between 7.4 and 8.2 tons, and a length of around 14 to 15 meters. These have been the widely accepted measurements for Spinosaurus for the past few years, and with the constant discovery of new giant Tyrannosaurus specimens, Spinosaurus has been widely considered the smaller theropod. And so, do we actually have any giant Spinosaurus specimens that rival the size of our current understanding of T-Rex? Well, yes. In fact, we have multiple. One of our largest specimens of Spinosaurus is a large snout piece from the Milan Museum, discovered in 2005. This specimen has gone through various size estimates, and while we do know that it is a very large specimen, determining an accurate size of it is extremely difficult, as its snout does not overlap with the posterior skull of the Neotype, and an estimate therefore cannot be made from overlapping material. All we know is that this is a very large snout, and that there are some size estimates floating around, putting the specimen at around 8 tons. However, realistically, we have to wait for more material to determine a realistic size. This specific specimen, that I'm not even going to bother try and pronounce, is often regarded as one of our largest specimens. There are various size estimates on it, however some of the more reliable in-depth ones with actual sourcing seem to put this specimen at around 9 to 10 tons, which is incredibly large. This specimen consists of a giant lower jaw that has been scaled up from the original holotype specimen of 1915. When using this method, the specimen comes out to a weight of 10.4 tons and a length of 16 meters. Now obviously, considering the original holotype was destroyed in 1915, there are some limitations to this method. However, this does prove that Spinosaurus could hit the 10-ton range. The next specimen worth talking about is OPH 2318. This specimen was recently discovered in 2025. However, I want to make it absolutely clear here, this is quite literally a toe, and since this is such limited material, you would assume there's not much you can do with it. However, since we have a similar fossil from the Neotype specimen that we discussed earlier, we can accordingly scale up the animal. However, since toe growth is not directly proportional to the mass of an animal, it is still very difficult to get an accurate estimation. As a result of this, weight estimates range anywhere from 7.5 to 13 tons. A lot of conservative estimates put this at 7.8 tons, others at 9, others at 12. It's simply not enough material to know for sure. There is one final giant specimen that is worth talking about, being NMC 41852. Essentially, this is a giant humerus that was confirmed to be Spinosaurus. Most weight estimates put it above 9 tons and a length of around 15 meters. One last fragment worth noting is this piece of snout, which when scaled up from the Neotype comes to a weight of 8 tons. So collectively, these specimens do prove that Spinosaurus could get to very large sizes, and while all are undeniably big, none comes from a complete skeleton, so exact size estimates remain uncertain. Each one points to the possibility that Spinosaurus could rival or even surpass some of the largest theropods, but without more material, we have to take these numbers with caution. Now, aside from these giants, many other Spinosaurus fossils are more modest in size. However, a lot of these, such as the Neotype, are known subadults, and so when discussing the size of Spinosaurus, it's not really fair to bring these up. And so, when we put all these big Spinosaurus specimens together, what do we get? We've got a collection of huge bones, from big snouts, giant lower jaws, massive humeri, and even toe bones, all pointing to the fact that Spinosaurus could reach truly impressive sizes. The estimates we've discussed today have gone all the way from 4 tons to 13 tons. But this being a blurry mix of subadults and incomplete specimens, figuring out a real adult size is almost impossible. But by adding every adult specimen I was able to find, Spinosaurus would be put in the ballpark of 14 to 15 meters long and a weight of around 7 to 10 tons, with some specimens going bigger and others smaller. And so, while there's still a lot to learn, these fossils show that Spinosaurus was amongst the largest predatory dinosaurs ever, and is definitely still a contender for the #1 spot.